Hello again. Yesterday we talked about the capital raising side of it, if that is your first project or cash generating transaction that you need to do to get your project moving. Now, if that's the case, I just want to give you a quick overview of the steps we use in our 12-point pitch, but I want to just cover the five most important points for you. First off, we talk about the project and the offer. So the project is the offer. It's really, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to give you, this is what we want to get. So we talk about the problem we solve, what we have to do to solve it. We talk about pricing and costing, what it costs us and what it would cost them, and they can quickly work the margin out and everybody can see whether or not this can survive. Then there's protection. We look at patents, NDAs, like any other sort of protection we have going forward with the project. We also show them how we're going to deliver to the market and how we're going to grow this project out from day one, what the steps are to make it into from a $1,000 program to a $1 million program, and what we want from the partners, who we're pitching to, and how they're going to get involved, and what we'll give them in return for that. That's just the project side of it. Now, the commercial model is a critical one, and most people don't understand what a commercial model is. I want to explain what a commercial model is so you fully understand it, because we spend a lot of time on that in our workshop, which is in this usually the beginning of the second month. Now, we go to how and where we get the demand. We also look at expected sales projections. We look at competition and competitors. We look at pricing and costing, as we mentioned. We look at the model we're going to use. What's the licensing? Is it distribution? Is it grow it out? Is it franchise? Is it a hybrid model of some of those? And then we look at the way we're going to implement this. So what our Gantt chart is. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to ask you to do. And this is how we're all going to make money out of it. So that's the commercial model. From there, we look at leverages. So the whole idea for leverages is to reduce the risk on contributions. So then the contributor putting the money in has no risk at all because we've discounted it by 100%. That's the ideal. So the first one we look at is reciprocal trade. I explained this the other day. Reciprocal trade is all about if you have a distribution channel with my customers, then I can provide you with an extra product. We can lock it in and send it down and offer it to the same people who already have a reputation with you. They're more than likely going to buy from you, even if it's a new product, and off you go. So if you have access to existing channels, it's beautiful. We also offer limited exclusivity. So it might be that we give you 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months in a geographic or a demographic territory. So you get a jump on your competitors, or the investor does. We look at options to buy or license. It could be a non-cash purchase at a later time, particularly if they're a public listed company. All we do is offer script for script rollover where they swap their shares for your shares, and ultimately they own you. You are part of their company, but you've cashed out. And at any time you can ring your broker and sell the shares, boom, you've cashed out. So we can also look at a bulk order on contribution as a contribution. I've done this before where somebody gave me a $12 million order against a new project, and that, because they were a blue chip company, we're able to go to the bank. In fact, they introduced us to their bank and said, talk to this guy, he's going to give you a cash advance on this and you're going to build your prototypes and go from there. And that's what we did. So, or that's what we were proposing to do at that time. We can also get grant supplements and work out just how much that's going to be, because you could actually get the grants. We could actually do this as a collaborative research partnership. So we might need $1 million, but you're spending $1 million with people who are providing the services or the products or the components for that product. And as we bring it in, you're paying the bills as and when they fall due as a collaborative research partner. And therefore, we are only we're giving you equity for the outcomes that you're giving us, not for the money you're spending. And as a result of that, we've already agreed to what the outcomes would be. You get the project equity in the project, and we get the outcomes, which is all the equipment and the services needed, and we've built the products. That gives you the tax concessions associated with spending that money. Could be a collaborative research partnership, as I mentioned. Now, if we switch to risks, it's important you can prove you understand the risks to the people you're going to pitch to, because they're from your industry or your market, so they already understand these. And if you can't articulate them well enough, they are going to consider that you represent more risk than they do. So because they're that same industry, they have a very good understanding. And if you don't present yourself as a very good understanding of their risks, then they're going to discount pretty much everything you say. So If you get this wrong, it can go horribly wrong. But if you get it right, they get trust in you, and that's what you need. So some of the risk areas are the outside influences that can influence your project without you having too much control over them. Things like political, legal, regulatory, social and societal, economic, competitive, technological issues. There could even be shareholder issues that could crop their heads from time to time, and they need to understand that you understand them and how you're going to deal with them. Mitigate them, but not necessarily control them. So then we talk about the exit. It is important to understand nobody will get in if they can't get out. If you have to present all the viable options, and then they are going to, then you narrow it down, and you do that by saying, here's our options we've got, and this is why we've selected this or both of these as the options for you and for us as well. So it might be that it could be a reciprocal buyout, where at a certain point before you pre-scale, you make an offer to them and they can either buy or sell to you, and first right of refusal goes each way. So it just gives people an opportunity to capitalize and accelerate a project. So you then select your favorite options and you present those to them in a favorable light, of course. So it could be that when you justify it, you can show them that a trade sale is best for you, or a licensing agreement is best for you, distribution, sale to distributor. Once a distribution agreement's in place, you might actually give the option to the distributor to buy you. It could be you franchise the project as you grow it out, or you trade sale it to the best buyer. So there's lots of exit options involved, and we're going to help you pick that in the workshop when we do that in the beginning of the second month.